So one of our viewers yesterday asked us if we were going to demo perpendicular parking. Yesterday we demoed parallel parking, and I said yes, we were. And we're headed out to town to Fuquay right now to run some errands, and while we're out we're going to find a place where we can practice the perpendicular parking. Right, Donnie?
Yepper.
So we're up near the Fuquay Community Center where the splash pad is, and we're looking for the car to signal to us in between a couple of cars over here that there's an acceptable parking space. It seems to have passed up on a few that we thought were good. And there's a perfectly good spot there, but the car did not signal to us that it thought. And here's another one that's a perfectly good spot.
It might be this line in the middle.
Right, there is a some asphalt where they put a pipe in the middle of the road. That's Don wonders if it's messing with the sensor.
Right. I would say that was a fail.
Right, you're sort of reliant on the car recognizing there's a spot there. There's no way you can sort of say, hey, that's my spot I want to go to. The car gets to pick the spot.
Right.
So we're in the Wal-Mart parking lot now.
Oh, we just gotta pee.
We did, we just gotta pee.
I don't see the freaking parking place though.
So let's see what that means. Yeah, well there's a parking spot right there.
Is it really a parking place?
Yes. Next to this silver Hyundai.
I'm trying. Alright, here we go. Alright, here we go. Somebody came up behind us.
I know it's got to stop.
It is.
Pull forward.
It is. Here it comes. It's doing right.
So Don does not have his hand on the steering wheel or on any pedals. The car had to straighten itself out one time, and is now pulling us into the space. Now that I have a backup camera in the X, I don't know how I lived without one in my van for so long. Well, I would definitely say that that was a success. It's popped up the door screen. It's put us in park. We're a good distance away from the car on this side. We're a good distance away from the car on this side. It did not get confused about those other spaces that were open on the other side.
Show behind.
We're a good distance away from the car behind us, and it only had to pull forward and back up one extra time this time, so that was good. As we had theorized, right, that maybe coming to a larger parking lot with more spaces that we went past before we were, you know, found a space, it seemed to do well. So I'm outside the car now. Don has circled the parking lot, and he's going to come down and attempt to park in the same spot that he parked in before. And he does have a car coming up behind him here, so let's see what happens. He's waiting. Okay, so the car has picked this time the spot prior to the spot that it had last time, which is okay. I mean, both are valid parking spaces. I guess it depends, you know, he didn't pull up quite as far this time. She's gonna have to pull forward and straighten herself out and then back into the spot. But in this case, it really did not matter. You know, they're both empty spots, which one she would go into. The car that was waiting decided not to wait and went around. We're sorry, and that's fine. And she does a really, really, really good job of getting the car exactly in the middle of the space. So Don's over here. He's, do that again, Donnie. Do that again. He's given me a thumbs up, and he's got his hands off the wheel, and she did what she was supposed to do. You see, these spaces at Walmart are pretty generous in our particular Walmart. It's not a small spot. I never worry too much about door dings in this particular parking lot. So she has a good bit of room to work with here. Not saying that she couldn't have handled it otherwise, but, and even though this car is pretty close back here, you'll see she left an ample amount of space. So other than finding a spot to park in, we think this is now a success.
So the perpendicular parking worked. I was very impressed that it split the lane. I guess more practice will be needed on my part to understand how it's finding the parking place. In this particular case, it actually, because there was a empty spot, a car, and an empty spot, it actually got the one that further away, which was a little bit unexpected, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I thought it was going to get the one closer. So that was a little of a surprise. And the second thing is it's a little slower. In other words, in this, I guess when you're parallel parking, people are used to you backing into parking places, so possibly they're more expecting that. But when you're in a perpendicular parking place, and especially a business place like Walmart, where the vast majority of people pull in head first and not back into parking places, is somewhat unexpected. So I would say the perpendicular parking is obviously useful, but it seems to be slower and less expected by other drivers. So be careful about that. In this case, I'm sure the video is going to show there was a car actually behind us, and I think they were a little surprised that I was doing what I was doing. They were probably saying, what in the world is this, what driver doing? So it still worked. It worked great. I didn't touch anything, and it parked into the space better than I could park into place.
Yesterday, Don talked a little bit about what's expected when you go to parallel park or perpendicular park, and we want the car to be acting as much like we're driving it as possible, even though the car's driving it. So I guess I'm wondering now, and Don mentioned this yesterday, if the car shouldn't put on the turn signal in the direction that it intends to go. Because when we would normally parallel park or even perpendicular park, we would, have the turn signal on. So if we haven't already turned it on, maybe the car would want to indicate that it's moving in that direction so that the folks would understand. Just a thought. You're so helpful.
Ready to go now?
Oh, just one more thing. So right now with the new center console, they don't make a floor mat for the center of the car for the middle row seats that will fit. They make one without the console for the 6-seater, but they don't make one with the console. So in the meantime, Johnny's been really careful, but I want to do something to help him stay out of trouble as best as possible. So I think we're going to use these inexpensive floor mats. Hold one of them up for me, Donnie, and let me see the size again. Yeah, just a little something to put down there to keep Johnny out of trouble, or if I carry any of the other kids in the car. Those are only $5 a piece, and we can always get the real format when it becomes available, if it becomes available. So after thinking about it just a little more, we've decided to go with this one-piece rug. Black, it's got a nice texture in it. It's pretty luxurious feeling. But yeah, one piece would probably be better. In my van, I always had a two pieces of mats in the back, but we're gonna try this one instead. A little bit more expensive at
20 bucks.
20 bucks instead of, so it'll cost us twice as much. But we're gonna give it a try.
It's twice as thick.
Right. All right, let's see if it'll fit.
The width's about perfect.
Don says 60 inches is looking good for the width. He's going around to the other side.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
So it is up here a little bit. Maybe we'll think about if we want to cut it.
Well, we're gonna cut it.
Don says we're going to cut it to make it work. But it's, you know, just a little bit on the end. So probably if we had our druthers, I would say 57 inches is probably about what it really is from one side to the other. But that's going to be nice. I think we can make that work for the money for sure. We also ordered this Bell trash can, and it has a Velcro on the bottom of it. Well, it wouldn't stick to the Model X carpet, but it looks like it's going to stick to this carpet really well. So just a little portable, collapsible trash can from Bell back here too. So the other day when Michelle and I were shopping, I got out of the car, and her son Devin wanted to stay inside, and we could see him from where we were, and he's old enough to be in the car by himself. But I was curious what would happen when I walked away. Well, what happened was the car totally locked up and the climate control system went off. So I had told Devin, hey, don't worry about it. I think that's what it's gonna do, and I will turn the climate control back on for you from my phone so you'll be comfortable. So that's what I did. Don just walked away to go take the cart back, and I was sitting in the car, and the car totally shut down, and it's 90 something here today. So the car was over 100 degrees on the inside. So I just went in on my phone app and said, well, I want to, you know, be cool in here, turn the climate back on. So I find if there's a passenger in the summertime that's going to stay in the car while you as the driver are getting out of the car, then you're just going to want to go in on your phone and turn the climate control back on for them. Nothing like cutting her close, getting her back into the garage before the little summer rain shower hits. Well, it's not a heavy rain shower, but it's certainly enough of a rain shower that it would have gotten Ruby all dirty again. I'm a little bit bummed. We basically got in the garage and it started to rain, which, hey, that was a good thing. But then there was a swallowtail butterfly over here on the butterfly bush, and I got out my camera to go take some pictures, and no can do, because I'd have to point the lens up, and that would definitely get my lens wet and not be a good picture. So Ruby is parked for the rest of the day, but tomorrow is supposed to be sunny all day. So typically we've been letting the kids get in and out for school in the morning and in the afternoon outside, so they can open up the trunk and be really careful with the car. We haven't typically been opening up the Falcon Wing doors in the garage, but I just wanted to take a picture and make a statement that, yeah, there really is plenty of room. Even though it looks like it's tight, it's really fine. We can open them up in here. If it's pouring down rain and we're going someplace, obviously we'll be loading up the car in the garage and not out in the driveway. But you know, we have to stop and think, I guess, and be a little careful. It probably comes down to the just learning to trust Ruby's decision making and getting comfortable with the car, but we've got plenty of space in here. Oh. Hey, Nighttime, you checking out the Model X? You want to go for a ride? Last time I took you for a ride in the van, you were very unhappy about it, so I don't think you want to go in there, sweetie. So we marked up what we wanted cut. Don used box cutters to cut the rug. Now he's using a soldering iron just to melt the fibers on the side of the rug just enough so that it doesn't unravel. So Don did a great job making the cut and using the soldering gun to heat up the side. But when we set it in the car, you could see just a little bit of this white border showing. So I thought maybe we would color it in with the permanent ink pen and get it to be darker so it'd look more natural in the car. So we've got the rug installed in the car now, and for 20 bucks we're way happy with it. The bell trash can, as I said earlier, it's going to stick to this carpet. It almost won't come off, the little Velcro strip. Don did an excellent job with the cutting, and it really blends in there. We do realize we're not up underneath the seat, but this should still catch most of the dirt. We also realize that we are blocking the track, but we tested it, and the track just moved this little flexible rug out of the way, no problem. And if we're worried about it, we can just flip it. So, like I said, for $20, we've done a lot to protect the back seat. And again, this is because there's no rug out there on Tesla.com that's made to fit for this brand new center console.